So you are or you want to get back together with an ex after a period of no contact, and you want to make it the best possible outcome. Here are my tips. Here are my perspectives on how you might be able to achieve that. My disclaimers: I am not giving the advice that you should get back together with your ex. This is just speaking to people who are going forward with it no matter what. I am also not saying that this will apply to every single situation. I absolutely think there are extreme circumstances that are not going to yield any kind of positive outcome, and you have to use your discretion to determine if it's an emotionally safe environment for you to go back to, and safe in any other way. But if you want to, here's what I will say. First and foremost, both parties must understand their individual role in why the relationship wasn't working out to begin with, and they need to be able to verbalize that accountability with clarity, what the issue was, acknowledging their part in it, and having tools for how to fix it. Ideally, they would already have been working on their side of the street, and you would have as well. And then you can come together and share what you've learned and how you've grown. And then understand that there will also be work on those systemic issues probably bubbling up again, even if you have been working on them, because now the stakes, the emotional stakes, feel a lot higher because you're back together, and there is a tremendous fear in a lot of relationships of it not working out a second time. So that leads me to the next point, which is, let's say hypothetically both parties have taken responsibility for their role in the downfall of the relationship initially, and both parties are working on it. It's also really critical to understand that most likely you will also have to navigate a breach of trust. Breaking up with someone, or someone breaking up with you, is an inherent breach of trust, because most of the time, or I'll say most of the time, it is an inherent breach of trust because it is in the insecure attachment world counter to what they were presenting to you for a lot of the relationship, especially when we're talking about the anxious avoidant trap. It is a very common dynamic for the AP to notice that the DA is creating space, pulling away, to ask how they're doing, and then the DA responds, nothing's wrong. And then there is what's known as the avoidant discard, and that in and of itself, the shock factor can feel like a tremendous betrayal. So not only do you have to navigate the original problems in the relationship, make sure you have tools for that, but you also have to make sure that you have tools for trust repair and nervous system regulation, which is wrapped up in all of this. Because even when we intellectually understand how we would want to be different in the relationship, when potential conflict arises, or even something that reminds you of previous conflict, your nervous system may activate, and what you know logically, objectively, will go out the window, and you may revert back to some of those maladaptive strategies, which for an AP may be protest behaviors, activating strategies, which I can talk about more in a separate video, and for DAs, deactivating strategies. And this doesn't just apply to DAs and APs, but that is the majority of the dynamics that I see, and I think that is the most common in my community here. So those are my tips. If you want to have a successful reunion, reconciliation with an ex, remember that if nothing changes, nothing changes. And as high as it feels, as dopamine-driven, wonderful honeymoon butterflies as it may feel in the beginning, that is usually very short-lived, and then both parties must roll up their sleeves and recognize there is tremendous work most of the time to be done. Let me know if you have any specific questions, if you want me to expand on this, and I will, and we'll go from there.